recording. All the housekeeping tasks are now complete. So fantastic to see you guys. Let's start with just sort of a quick round of wins and celebrations, and then we'll go into our Q&A, and then also by popular demand, what we did last week, if you guys want another practice run of doing your distinctions about, those programs are fantastic. Here's how our program is different. Here's how my program is different. Talking about you versus the competition. We talked about the competitive scan. We talked about articulation and distinction. Folks seem to get a lot of juice out of summarizing your distinctions, your secret sauce, your some people had either expertise, experience, background, combination of things like 1 + 2 + 3 = 10, all kinds of different ways that you can articulate your distinct secret competitive advantage, if you will. So we can do another quick round of those if you want to. But let's start with some celebrations, positive focus, quick wins. Anything counts. Could be small, medium, large, or super size. We're big believers in Goldilocks size celebrations. It can be little bear, medium bear, mama bear, or papa bear. Doesn't matter what kind of bear. But who's got a celebration, a win, positive focus, success story to share? Dina, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. So just wanted to share a quick win. We implemented our new price point based on Teresa's coaching, and we just landed our first 1-hour speech for $8,000.
Fantastic! What was the old pricing?
We were getting between $3,500 to $5,000. And Teresa was asking us, based on our social proof and what we had to offer, are we ready for the next step? And so, so we did $7,500, plus they gave us $500 towards travel. They had a fixed budget.
Sure.
But we're happy at that. We got our new $7,500 plus travel.
I cannot tell you how excited I am about $8K versus $3,500.
Yeah.
I can't. But congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank you.
And we talk about this a lot, that sometimes it's literally about a different number leaves your mouth. A different number leaves your mouth. And that makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And now you guys did the mindset work. You did the work in here. You did all kinds of fabulous value add things about the way that you talk about what you do. So very, very well deserved. But at the end of the day, a different number left your lips. And that's why you were able to get that different number.
I love the salt, pepper, fee exercise. I did that several times.
Salt, pepper, $7,500. Pepper,
Yep.
Salt, $7,500. The fee, $7,500. Pepper, salt. Absolutely right. Just plug in your number. And in the training, we call it $4,500, but you can just plug in whatever number. We've had people go salt, pepper, $18K. Salt, pepper, $18K. $18K, pepper, salt. And it is what it is. Especially when you're elevating and escalating it, that's when that exercise is especially helpful. But good job. That's really exciting. Super excited for you. Who's next? By the way, that right there, that was Papa Bear. That was a Papa Bear size celebration. So don't feel that you have to fall into the comparison trap. We're still very happy with the little baby bear and medium bear and mama bear, and all of that is all good. So let's keep things rolling. Who else has something to share? Positive win. Could be an insight. Could be just an aha moment that you've had. Could be some work that you're doing on your own, that you had some little mini breakthrough about what you do, what to charge, how it all works. Who else has one? Alvin, you want to chime into that?
I do. I have one.
I'm celebrating that you're here.
Is that right?
You're like the missing man formation. It's fabulous to see you.
Yeah, I've been working, so that's a good thing.
I hear you.
Right. Don't believe in doing free talks, but did one last week. And thinking about all your advice about making sure your decision makers are in the audience, and got 2 clients from the talk. And ironically, 2 clients that weren't even there. Just word of mouth. Just, hey, we couldn't make it. Missed the workshop, but heard great things about it. We want to book you. New fee. To come to see us. That was great.
And what's the new fee for these 2 clients?
$7,500.
And you got 2 of them?
2 of them.
All y'all are making the rest of these people very shy right now. They're like, I think I had a breakthrough in module 2 that I now have my marketing language bank ready. It's awesome. Awesome. Huge congratulations. And Alvin, just for comparison, what was the old fee?
$3,500.
Zoom, right? One step. And we talked about this, I think, a couple weeks ago, that there's this myth that you have to escalate slowly, that you just gradually, you go from 3,500 to 4,000, and you think about that for a few months, then you go to 4,500, then maybe someday it'll be 5,000, and no, right? If you've been underpricing and undervaluing, that marketplace adjustment can be instantaneous, and it should be instantaneous. And congratulations to you for being brave and stepping right into it. And he didn't get 1, he got 2.
Yeah, and I think the other key, David, is having a niche. I think that you keep saying that you're the go-to person for, and changing and having a niche made that a lot easier, because if no one else is offering that topic, then it's easier to make that jump.
Exactly right. Or just you're owning that mountaintop. Right? That topic for that audience and the way that you deliver it, you become a category of 1.
Right.
And all the competition falls away and becomes irrelevant.
Right.
Love that. Really good.
Thank you.
All right. Who else has a celebration of any kind, of any size? No pressure, no comparison. Although I'm thrilled with these big ones, but I'm thrilled with small ones. I'm very easy to please. I love the big ones, but I'm very, very easy to please. Who else has one they'd like to share? Doug, I think this is your first call, correct? This is your debut, or were you on last week?
This is my debut, David. Thank you for having me. So this is a celebration of sorts to be on the call for the first time. I've been looking at some of the languaging around what I do. I've been doing this for a level that I believe this training will help get me to, that I've never quite gotten to yet. So I'm excited about that. And thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, welcome. Great to have you. So good job. And again, that's, just we're saying hi to Doug. Doug's debut, jumping in the deep end of the pool, making it happen, getting ready for takeoff. It's all fantastic. Who else has one? Then we'll jump right into our Q&A, and then we'll do some more of the distinction work if you guys want to step into that.
Hi, David. It's Susan.
Hey, Susan, go ahead.
I have a sort of a celebration. I have a client I've done probably 4 programs to last year. Basically, they were regional. It was an assisted living facility. I only charged them $4,000 like last year for a family caregiver program in the evening, and then a CE program for nurses and so forth the next morning. And that's to attract people to new memory communities that are opening up. So I got a call from one of their sister companies out in the Chicago area, and I'm thinking, well, I should be able to charge more because it's out of state. And I had the initial call today, and I didn't talk money yet, but I just wanted to let them know that my rates were higher and that I could layer other options. But I'm a little leery about, because I've always charged them like $4,000 for 2 programs. Before I got on the call, I thought if they talk money, 8 would be my minimum for the 2 programs, working my way up to 12 to 2 programs. And with 12, I thought I can throw in, and I don't know if this is something you talk about in the modules, is like maybe sending invitations to my LinkedIn network in the Chicago area. Is that something that's a negotiable, marketing benefit to raise your price higher? Maybe a radio interview, TV interview?
I wouldn't. So great question. And again, we can circle back to this during the Q&A. I wouldn't. So number one, congratulations on the mindset reset about
Right.
let's elevate the fee that they're paying no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
This is just about, okay, let's elevate the fee for what they've always gotten because, that was before and this is now.
Right.
And many clients will move upstream with you, and you'll never know if you don't raise the fee and don't hold your ground. Second question is, well, what are the standard things that everyone gets with every program? Don't worry about, well, what can I scramble? Like, what can I find? Like, should I throw in like a bottle of water? Should I, let me reach over here and maybe, hey, I'll throw in an iPhone. I'll throw in an iPhone for you guys if you pay me $8,000.
Yeah.
You don't need to add a whole bunch of stuff. Say, okay, here's the standard program.
Okay.
Here's the investment. Here's what you get, right? And that's just kind of what they always get. Now, where the extra stuff comes in, right, or the standard package, when they want to reduce the fee, then you have the ability to take things out of the standard package. So what are the things that you like to do before and during and after the program? Standard, not thinking about crazy stuff to add in just because you feel you have to add stuff, but it's the customization, it's the pre-programmed questionnaire, it's the interviews, it's the on-site, I'll do morning, noon, and night. We'll do 3 programs, whatever. Afterwards, we're doing email access to you after the program. We're doing a webinar. We're doing a video series. So what's in that standard package so that when you get some downwards price pressure, you say, well, you have to understand, ordinarily, I do this stuff before, I do this stuff at the event, and I do this set of things afterwards. Which one of those would you like to remove? And they all sound so fantastic and so wonderful that most clients go, we don't want to remove anything. Well, then we're back at $8,000. So, if you only had $6,000, we could take off the customization. We could take off the interviews. We could take off the, the custom handouts. I could just do off-the-shelf handouts that I use for every program. We could, we could cut the email access to me after the program. We could cut the webinar follow-up after 30 days. We could cut the free video series that I like to give your people. No, we want all of those things. Okay. Well, then it's back to $8,000.
Well, the problem is they know I didn't have extras before because I've spoken for them 4 times. So they know I just, charged $4,000, gave the lecture. Maybe, I don't even think I did handouts. Maybe, yeah.
So that's why they're getting Susan 2.0.
Okay.
That's why they're getting Susan 2.0, right? So you say, my business has evolved. My offerings have evolved. Here's the new investment, and here's what you get.
Okay.
So if they still want like the bare bones, slam, bam, thank you, ma'am, nothing extra, nothing, no pre, no post, no nothing.
Right.
Say, well, okay, well, for that, it's $5,000. So even there, it's a price increase, right? But like the bare bone, if you want to do this, and you get to decide, if you want to do this, what I might do is I might say, what, if it's not $8,000, I'm not doing it because I'll spend that same time going to find my next $8,000 client. That is a 100% mindset decision.
Right.
So if you no longer want to do small potatoes, people that don't respect your time, people that don't value your expertise, just because they paid you that in the past doesn't mean that you're trapped there and that you're a prisoner of that fee. People move upstream all the time, and sometimes they move upstream significantly, and the clients go with them.
Okay. Yeah, because I tried, and it was good practice because I got to ask them some of the questions. What other speakers have you used? How effective were they? How much ROI did you get? Like how many people after hearing them speak, booked your assisted living facility? And they're like, well, we got leads, but no promises. And I'm like, well, if I have a 30-day follow-up with needy families, I can certainly make a bridge to your marketing efforts. So I kind of planted the seed. So I think, but the financial decision makers were not on yet. They were just kind of feeling me out, and I was feeling them out as to what they wanted.
Right.
So I think I'll insist that their financial decision makers are on the next call.
Yes, for sure. And then start asking those financial questions like we talk about in Module 6.
Okay.
About what's an average patient, or they call them clients or patients?
Well, residents usually when they move in.
Okay. So again, using their lingo, right? What is the customer lifetime value of a resident, right? What is the, what's your quota? How are you hitting your quota? What's your backlog? All these kind of questions that only an economic decision maker could answer, and say, well, what if we could move the needle on this part? What if we could get more people onto your waiting list? What if we could get more on-site visits from families? What if it was a 10% bump in this or a 15% bump in that or a 20% bump in that? And then using their math, you say, wow, if we got 10 more residents in here, that would be $80,000 a month for you.
Right.
That would be $960,000 a year. And how much is your program again, Susan? $8K. It's a no-brainer. It's like, give the woman $8K and she'll give you $80,000 a month of new business.
Okay.
I'll take it. I'll take it. But until you have that economic decision, they're thinking, oh, we're spending $8,000 and we used to spend $4,000.
Right.
In the context of what you're doing for them, those numbers are ridiculously low.
Right. Well, right now they only have 5% committed, so they have 95% empty, and their grand opening got moved up to May. So urgency is pretty big.
I would totally play on that as well.
Okay.
I would totally play on that as well. What's going to happen if you have to push it back again?
Okay.
Who's going to have egg on his or her face now?
Right. Or if you have to pay staff and you don't have people in.
Oh my God. Right. Exactly right.
All right. I can play with that then. Well, I know it's $4,400 a month, so multiply that by a year for one resident.
Totally. Well, and it's funny. I did some work with Devereaux here, who's in our neighborhood. The headquarters here in Villanova, their national headquarters. And I was doing some work with the VP of Training and Development. I sat down with the CEO. The term they use is heads in beds.
Oh.
So it's a residential treatment facility for people with brain injuries and, it's mainly brain and cognitive disorders.
No, I'm familiar with them. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but their term is heads in beds, and they know the metrics and they know the math and they know we move the needle this much and it gets us that much. And if we don't do this, then it costs us that. And, even the cost of an empty bed, they know if they have capacity, and they're paying staff and they're paying doctors and they're paying whatever, overhead, electric, rent, heat, whatever, they know that empty bed has an economic cost.
Okay.
They don't like empty beds.
Ooh, I should look that up. Thank you.
I know.
And multiply it by 95%. Okay, thank you.
For sure.
Really helpful. I appreciate this. Thank you.
You bet. All right. What else? Other celebrations before we move on to our Q&A? I think, Susan, you said you have one. And we just got to get you unmuted.
Yes. Hi.
Hi.
I had a good conversation with a competitor, and she works with women business owners, and I work with technical professionals.
Sure.
So she was trying to sell me on her program, and so I listened and I asked a lot of questions about it and got some good ideas for how to put together a program for my people.
So she was pitching you on something, but that sent off some mind sparks for you about what you could do for your clients.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah, it was
totally
great.
Fantastic.
Yeah, how to develop your speech.
Yeah, really good. I love that.
He's going to do 3 or 4 Zoom calls and then 1 get-together for a presentation.
There you go. There you go. And what's the price point on that guy going to be?
Oh, for her?
No, for whatever you're creating here.
Oh, right. I'm thinking about 55.
Okay.
5,500. But I would make it longer. I like the idea of doing the calls like you do.
That's in a coaching mode specifically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because people have trouble putting together their talk.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Very nice. I love that package. Let's go sell some of those.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Awesome. And if you have more and you want to chime in later, we can chime in later. There's no bad time for celebrations, but let's get to our Q&A. And the pre-submitted questions are Drew and Rad and Kimberly. So Drew says, when do you pull the trigger during a discovery call? I'm ready. Hit me.
Okay. So I love the discovery call model, the soft sell, asking the questions. It's all about them. I've got that down, David. Love it.
And that's for speaking or that's for your coaching?
This is for speaking.
Okay.
And I have a special program that I'm working on as well. But my problem is the transition to the I don't go in and say, I've got this speech, I've got this presentation, I've got this program. I learned that from you guys.
Yeah.
Ask what they need, ask their pain points, go from there. But when do I say, oh yeah, by the way, I've got this thing that could really help you?
So fantastic question. And you guys know this because you've all heard and experienced the pivot in our conversation, in our discovery call, in our strategy calls. I mean, it's very straightforward. I'm a huge believer in authenticity and transparency and collaboration. This is a sales process that we teach and that we recommend that we use that is very much done with the prospect. It's not done to the prospect. So you don't have the sales hammer hiding behind your back and going, okay, when do I hit him with the sales hammer? Our transitional question is, would you like to hear about the program that I've been referring to? So obviously they know that you do something, right? You say, well, in our programs, we help our clients with X, Y, and Z. Most audiences really enjoy, and you're kind of bringing this up in a kind of by the way discussion when you say, tell me about your group, tell me about the conference, tell me about the theme of the conference, tell me about why the theme of the conference is the theme of the conference, what's causing that to come to the forefront right now, why is that important, how else have you tried to fix it, what else are your members wrestling with, why is that important to them, where else is that showing up, how long has that been a problem, and you go and do the whole thing. At some point, you say, okay, I've got a pretty good picture of where you want to take this meeting. I have a pretty good picture of your audience's pains, problems, heartaches, headaches, challenges, dreams, hopes, and goals. Would you like to hear about the program that I offer my clients who are in a very similar situation to yours? And they say, yes, Drew, I'd love to hear about that program. And then, right, all you're doing is you're mirroring all the stuff that they said is a problem, assuming that your program is geared towards that problem, which most of us, you wouldn't be asking the questions unless you wanted to hear the answer. Just like a courtroom attorney never asks a question, goes, oh, I'm not sure what the answer to this one's going to be. Courtroom attorney only asks questions in the sales process where you want the answer to come out of their mouth. So, it solves this, it fixes that, it gives them the skills and the tools to do outcome A and, result B and fix headache X and close gap Z. And, that's what we do. And, I have good news. The program is probably less than you think. For the program that does all of these wonderful, fabulous things, you do your recap, you say, it's only $12,000. It's only $5,500, $7,500, $9,500, whatever your number is for your program. Was that in the range you were looking to invest? Mouth closes, silence. Silence is your friend. They go, yeah, Drew, that's about right. Yeah, we'd love to drop $9,500 on this program. Done. So it's not like, when do I drop the hammer? When do I pivot? When do I get clever? It's diagnosis, right? The model is diagnosis, prescription, treatment, outcome. They want the outcome. Well, first we have to ask all of our diagnostic questions. We got to peel back the onion, figure out what's important to them. What have they tried? Where does it hurt? What's your range of motion in that right hand? Can you go this high? Can you go this high? Does it hurt when I do this? Oh, yeah, that really hurts. That's bad. Don't do that. Okay, put the arm down, right? And then you say, would you like to hear about the program I've been referring to? Would you like to hear about the program that most of our clients invest in? Yes, I would. Great. Problem A, symptom B, outcome X, result Y, dream Z. That's what the program is. Would you like to hear about the investment? Yes. Fantastic. For a program that does all these things, puts more heads in beds, gets your client lifetime value to where you'd want it to be, your resident lifetime value, helps your sales team, helps your marketing team, helps your technical professionals, helps your auto dealers, helps all the people that want to help, right? Helps your employees with their health and their wellness and their all kinds of stuff. The investment is less than you think. It's X dollars. Pause. Was that in the range you were looking to invest? That's how to have the whole conversation. So that's when you quote unquote drop the hammer. Is you never drop the hammer. You just have a very authentic, transparent conversation about what it is and why it's awesome, and was that in the range they were looking to invest. Does that help with that part of the scripting?
Absolutely. It was just that transition and the right time to do it. And based on what you said, it's each conversation is going to be different. But that helps considerably. One thing I was going to say about the discovery calls that I love, by the way, is when I use their language back at them. That is invaluable to and especially if I didn't use that verbiage before. It's incredible. So that's what I really love, that part of the discovery process. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that's specifically why that resonates, right? When people use, speaking prospect language about prospect problems is when they say, okay, I like this guy. I like this woman. I like her. She sounds like me. She gets me. She's picking up what I'm laying down. We're talking on the same wavelength. All of that comes from your vocabulary, right? So this is why I'm so hell-bent when you guys are submitting your documents and we're going back and forth. And even with your distinction statements from last Thursday, we said no jargon, no consultant speak, no $5 words. Every time that you use the jargon, the consultant speak, the buzzwords, the BS, kind of fancy language, you're pushing people away. You're lowering the rapport. You're lowering the resonance, right? Like, oh, yeah, now she's pitching me. Now she's selling me. Now she's telling me how awesome her program is. And we have turned the conversation away from, she gets what I want. She gets what I need. She's speaking my language. She understands my problems, and she must know how to fix it. If you use the language that is their language, all of those things come as a halo effect. If you don't use their language, it's going to be like blah, 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 consultant speak, vendor, peddler, get away from me. And I think that vendor status is what we're wrestling with a lot of the time. I know that Kimberly, we've been back and forth about, how come people aren't responding to me? How come people aren't returning my phone calls? How come that, I'm so awesome with my clients, but I can't get a ham sandwich from people that don't know me already? It's because you might be showing up on their radar like a vendor, or like even worse, like a typical vendor, and not like a trusted advisor and someone that really gets what they're up against and how you can help them. And that's not unusual. We all have that at some point, is that, we're so concerned with what we want to sell that we don't dial it back and really deeply listen to what they want to buy. And the moment that you stop worrying about what you want to sell, and when do I pitch, and when do I send the proposal, and when do I talk about how awesome my stuff is, the answer is never. You never pitch, you never push, you never sell, you never talk about how awesome your stuff is. You talk about how much you can move the needle on their results that they just spent 20 minutes telling you that they want to move, right? So it needs to be a perfect match between what they just said they want and what your program can deliver, not in terms of, oh, it's an awesome speech, it's fantastic, you really need this, right? All of those are pushaways. It's about, if you want A, B, C, D, E, and F, right, as outcomes, our clients get those outcomes. Ooh, that's interesting. Tell me more. Ooh, how does that work? Ooh, how much does that cost? Ooh, can you do a super deluxe version of that? Ooh, can you do it in the Western Division and the Central Division and the Eastern Division? Ooh, can we bring you in for other stuff after that? I mean, I have clients sign up into here, and they actually say, well, yeah, I get it. Speaker Profit Formula, 8 weeks. Great. What's after this? And I say, what do you mean, what's after this? They go, no. So we're totally going to crush it in this program. And then how do I get more? I said, well, slow down. Number one, slow down. Let's make sure that you crush it in here. And, I'm not here to upsell you or get you into some kind of back end super duper program or hit you over the head with a silly stick, right? We'll cross one bridge at a time. And people are like, oh, really? Like, you're not going to upsell me? You're not going to tell me what's next? You're not going to have a 7-part, 3-year David Newman program? It's like, no, there's no 7-year, 3-year David Newman program. Even when people say, this is going to be awesome, what's next? How do I get more? I had a guy come in that said, how do I work with you for a year? He says. And I said, dude, number one, I don't work with anybody for a year. And number two, I hope that you don't have to. I hope that you don't have to. If you work with me for a year, you're either not listening right? Your speakers are broken on your computer, or you're not doing any work, right? After 8 weeks, dude, I want you out flying on your own wings. I don't want to work with your dumb ass for a year. I want to transfer my DNA from my head into your head so you're rocking it and you're bringing checks in the door ASAP. If you work with me for a year, I'm going to be like really impatient and you're going to be really dumb. You're going to be really dumb. He didn't like that answer. He signed up, but he was like, yeah, I'm not crazy about that answer. I mean, I kind of crushed his enthusiasm there a little bit, but I said, you don't want to work with me for a year. You want the results, right? So all of us, this is a great, great point. No one here is in the coaching business. No one here is in the speaking business. No one here is in the consulting or the seminar or the training business. We are all in the outcomes business. And we talked about this maybe a few weeks ago, that all of us, as wonderful and handsome and beautiful as you all are, you're all a necessary evil in your client's mind, going through you as the bridge to solving the problems and the bridge to solving the outcomes that they want. You're a necessary evil. If they could do it by drinking some Kool-Aid or dancing the hula in the parking lot, they would drink the Kool-Aid, they would dance the hula, because they want the outcomes as soon as possible. They want that transformation to happen now. I mean, no one wants to wait, for a 4-week training program or a 6-month leadership development program or an 8-week speaker mentoring program, but you have to go through the process to get the outcomes. So that's what I mean by a necessary evil. So never sell the necessary evil. Always sell the outcome. Always sell the outcome. My outcome is that after 8 weeks, I've made myself progressively unnecessary. And you guys have all of this in your brain cells, and you're going out there and you're doing these amazing programs for fees that are, would seem ridiculous to you just 8 weeks prior. And that's my goal, is I don't want people hanging out for a year. So, Rad, how do you know if it's worth building a relationship with a conference planner, or if they just drew the short straw this year and will be gone next year? So that's a very good question. I want to hear more about your question, but I'll preface it with 2 just quickies. Number 1, this is the only business where a good percentage of our buyers are first-time buyers, right? So if you pull the short straw and you're the conference chair that year, that might be the first and last time that you ever have to hire a $10,000 or $15,000 keynote speaker. So it's almost like they're uneducated buyers, right? In the plumbing business, the guy that buys plumbing supplies is always the guy that buys the plumbing supplies, right? They're professional buyers in other industries. The one that buys, this also isn't true so much in consulting and coaching, because the one that buys the consulting and coaching is going to be the top dog, or the one that always buys the consulting and coaching. In the speaking realm, we're often dealing with first-time buyers that are uneducated buyers, and we have to be a little bit of an educator. So it's a bit of a revolving door on the speaking side, because staff changes, or the program committee changes, or the program conference chair changes. But ask me more detail about that question, Rad, and sort of what you're up against with building a relationship short-term versus long-term.
Well, I was just thinking about how we're sort of going on LinkedIn and looking for different conferences and finding out who the conference planner was the last year, and trying to build a relationship with this person, stay in front of them. What if we do that? And 2019, I have nothing to do with that conference at all. I was just chosen. 5 of us had to do it, and I was one of the 5, and now my tenure's over.
Right. So 2 things. Number 1, happens all the time. Very common. What you just described happens all the time. The person that's like the ultimate decision maker for 2017, 2018, they're a nobody. They're like just a regular rank and file member. Oh yeah, no, could you pass me along? No, not really. Could you put in a good word? Nah, I'm not really. No. I mean, it's almost like they're a different person. Like they hired you, they paid you $7,000 or $10,000 or $12,000. They're your biggest champion, biggest advocate. You might have even gotten an awesome testimonial from them. You did a great job, a total home run. Hey, could you tee me up to the new, who are you again? What? Where? Conference? That was me. It's almost like they have like a, they're almost brainwashed. That's like a whole different person. So fact of life, number one. Number two, this also speaks to have multiple contacts in every organization. I think where a lot of seasoned speakers especially really screw themselves up, whether it's corporate or association or anything. They say, oh, my contact retired. My contacts changed jobs. I said, wait a second. You're working with IBM, you're working with Ford Motor Company, and you had one contact inside of Federal Express? Didn't you build a relationship with all the folks around that table? Nope, just the top guy, right? So this becomes kind of a cautionary tale. Dig your well before you're thirsty. Always try and foster multiple relationships at every level. So this is why when you get an association gig, yes, of course, the programs chair, the programs committee, all of that's important. Remember the magic secret trick of interview the board. The board members don't change nearly as often as the conference chair. Board member might be there for 3, 4, 5 years. You're friends with the board member, you will get booked 2, 3, 4 times, right? You're friends with the programs chair, you get booked once, they forgot your name. So multiple relationships, multiple stakeholders. In the world of professional selling, they call this strategic account management. Right? They talk about building multiple stakeholders and multiple people who know you and like you inside every single customer, inside every single client organization. So we especially have to do that because on the speaking side, more so than the consulting and the training side, but even there, on the speaking side, this sale is so transactional. This sale can be very transactional. You want to have low friends in high places. You want to be buddies with the executive director. You want to be buddies with the member education person. You want to be buddies with maybe even the publications person. So there's our article strategy, that person's going to be your ongoing advocate from year to year. You definitely want to talk to all the board members of that association. So strategic account management, right? Penetrating that account. So you've got 5 or 6 buddies in there, strategically recruited professional friends that know you and like you, and you're going to have dinner with them the night before, and you're going to send them a thank you note. When you have a single point of contact, that is a real vulnerability. When you have multiple points of contact and multiple allies and multiple friends inside of every association that you've ever worked in, 2 great things start to happen. Great thing number 1, that association is much less vulnerable to turnover because they forgot who you are. Like 5 or 6 people will not forget who you are. 1 person moves on, that's okay. You still have 5 friends in there. Now, when people move on, they're much more likely to take you with them. So every person that now moves on, this is good news. It's not bad news, it's great news. So you just went from the American Association of Plumbing and Pipe Fitters to the American Association of Distribution Warehouse Managers. Fantastic. Well, we have to hire Rad because everyone loved Rad. Literally, here's what they say. Everyone loved Rad back where I used to work. Let's see if Rad wants to come and work here. Now you make 5 or 6 new friends around where that person just moved to. So
that makes sense.
This is job security, guys. This is huge. This is not in the training. You know, I don't talk about this until and unless it comes up like this. This is huge. This is huge. The once and done transactional gig to gig thing, you can kiss that goodbye if you start doing this the right way, the way we're talking about right here.
You know what you made me think of is the beginning of the movie Schindler's List. Do you remember that? How he goes in and he has the party with I think they're Nazis. It's been a long time since I've seen it. And he kind of puts all his cards on the table and takes pictures with them and has beautiful women come and wine and dine the guys and then sends them copies of the pictures of, I mean, that would be so, not that we're going to bring beautiful models in to meet our clients, but you know, the selfies at the table.
Hookers and the Nazis, you got it. Yeah. Just take out the hookers, take out the Nazis, and that's exactly right.
Okay.
You want to wine and dine and be loved by multiple stakeholders inside of each association.
Yeah, I was just at a speaking event. I wasn't the speaker. It was being brought into a group. And the speaker, prior to going up on stage, just went around from table to table, introduced himself to everyone there. It wasn't a huge group. and just, asked questions about that person.
Yeah.
And really, I felt, it wasn't even the best speaker, but I felt bad being bored in the audience because I felt like now I had this friend up there who I had to support, even though he was kind of flailing. And I, didn't want to look down or do, text or anything else because this guy had built that rapport ahead of time. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank
So the
you.
same exact way that you would warm up an audience once you're in the room, that's how you warm up the client and build consensus and build multiple relationships months and months before you ever show up. It's a very similar thing. That you want to warm up the room, you want to have friends in the audience, you want to also warm up the client, and you want to have multiple relationships going in almost from the very beginning of that sales process, because that's going to be the economic engine through which the repeat business and the referral business starts to flow.
Okay. Would you so let's say you did have a contact for a speaking event at some company. Would you ever reach out to someone else before you get that event locked in at would you ever say, kind of jump over their head and say, oh, I've been, talking to the CEO on LinkedIn and say, we're just having discussions with so-and-so about the possibility of speaking at your annual event? Or would you wait till that's done just so you don't make that person feel like you're stepping on their toes?
Yes and no and yes. So yes, it's a good idea. No, I wouldn't do it exactly the way that you're talking about. And yes, there's totally a way to do this before you lock anything in and before you get the deal, before you get anything signed. So yes, it's a great idea to build consensus and to build relationships before the deal is closed. I wouldn't so much worry about, I'm talking to so-and-so, I'm in conversations with such and such, because that sort of shows your hand a little bit. Right? That kind of says, hey, I'm kind of going over their head to talk to you. And you don't need to even say that. You say, okay, I'm preparing to submit something for your next annual conference coming up in November. Okay. Because you're on the board and you've got your finger on the pulse of this industry and what your members really need, would you be wonderful enough to spend 15 minutes with me just exploring what they might want and need to see at that event in November to make it a huge home run success? So you're not even saying, tell me what to put in my proposal, because that's selfish. You're saying, tell me what you think they would really value at that event in November. And then would you be wonderful enough to share what you really feel that they need and want at that upcoming event in November? Now notice, you haven't said you've been hired. You haven't said that you haven't been hired. You haven't said that you're talking to someone. You haven't said that you're not talking to someone. You're saying, I'm preparing a program for the American Association of Pipe Fitters. I see that you're on the board. I would love your, it's a version of asking for air, right? I'd love your advice, insights, and recommendations on what you feel a program like this would, how a program like this would deliver maximum value in November. What would they need to see? What kind of problems are they wrestling with? What kind of insights would be valuable? Because you're doing two things. You're doing association research on that particular association, but frankly, you're doing topic research and industry research, because you're talking right to someone who's sitting in the buyer's chair. They're not only on the board of that association, they're probably a CEO or a VP or a C-level person in their own company that has very similar problems and challenges that the association members do. So it's kind of a listening campaign, it's a survey step, and it's a pre-marketing step all rolled into one. So there's totally value in doing that. And sometimes that pre-marketing will end up getting you the gig. And you didn't go over anyone's head. You say, hey, I just talked to this really smart guy, and I don't know if he's contacted you yet, but we should totally get him to speak in November. And then it's just a slam dunk. It's like an end around, think of it as a football play, right? It's an end around thing where it's like, woo, we're going right for the touchdown.
Nice. Thank you so much.
You bet. Man, today's call is gold, people. This is all you need. Just hang up the phone now, go do all of these things, and, instant $25,000 month for everyone. Crazy town in here. All right, so Kimberly, I think, had a question in the queue. Of the various strategic approaches to book more speaking engagements, Are there ones that work best for certain scenarios, corporate versus associations and others? Well, so the one that we just talked about is totally killer for associations, right? It's the board member approach, the multi relationship inside of every association, inside of every group. Tell me what you're wrestling with on the corporate side.
Well, the corporate side is I guess a continuation, David, of what you and I've been speaking about on the support line. Is I'm involved in a lot of organizations that are full of my target audiences, legal professionals, attorneys, administrators, etc.
Right.
So whether it's through targeted networking that I cultivate and nurture relationships, or reaching out to those folks who have that job title via LinkedIn or whatever, I am obviously haven't found my sweet spot of attracting, of resonating with the people who I say are in my target audience to have them want me. I feel like I'm a category of one because of the way that I, the wisdom, the experience, the expertise that I bring, and the way that I deliver it, and the packages that I promote. But obviously it's just not resonating. It's not resonating. And so I feel like I've been beating my head against the wall. And so I guess my question is, much of my outreach, like for example, I kind of got on a kick of connecting with a lot of legal administrators around the country for law firms because they are the business managers.
Yeah.
And I've been having more success lately going that route versus going in with an attorney, whether it be the CFO, COO. And so, I try to engage them on what their issues are, and, using some of the templates that you've given us through the LinkedIn connection, have tons and tons of people connecting. But, and I talk about, what you said, we would be glad to have a conversation. It's just not going anywhere. And so I guess, when you gave me the guidance of, well, you need to use some of these strategies. So that's where I'm coming from as far as, should I ask for air? I mean, these people are already not giving me time.
But it's different when you come across their radar as a vendor, right? About, hey, I can help you with your marketing, and hey, who needs keychains and t-shirts? I mean, I get these every day. I'm sure you guys do too. It's like, I've got a guy that emails me literally every 3 months on the clock. I can set my watch to this guy. Okay, you have any promotional product needs this quarter? Funny how I don't have any promotional product needs ever. So that's like ships passing in the night, right? He's talking on one wavelength, I'm talking on the other. Knowing what you know about what you've tried so far, let's zoom out to the planetary level. And obviously the results speak for themselves. So I think this is kind of a little bit of a harsh reality check that we all need to be doing. When something is not working, right, the proof is in the pudding. It's not like, oh no, I'm sure this will work at some point, and it's not working. You're not getting results, you're not getting calls, you're not connecting. It's like, it's the ships passing in the night problem. Looking at this as objectively as you possibly can, where you are your own inner guide, wisdom consultant, what do you think might not be connecting with them or might not be landing with them that totally obvious and clear to you, and they're just missing it like the ships passing in the night?
One potential thing is that these people, the decision makers, are already up to their limit of what they can focus on and deal with. And this is like an add-on. One more thing. Because doing this as long as I've been doing this, I've talked to gazillion people in this world, and they all stay in the world of overwhelm. So they're just trying to get through today, but I hear all the time how, our lawyers aren't performing, how, the marketing departments are struggling. There's only, and I know because I know the industry so well, that only 5 to 7% of lawyers, partners in firms are the rainmakers carrying everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I know their industry better than they do, and so I guess that's why, it's kind of like me just hitting a rock every time, is that I know that they need these services.
Well, but here's the difference. And maybe here's where the door opens to a little bit of a different strategy. You say, I know the industry better than they do. What you might be missing is you don't know their mindset better than they do. If you knew their mindset better than they do, you'd be having return calls and, oh my God, Kimberly, can you come and help us? That's exactly what we need. That's exactly what we want. So it's not about, do I know my stuff? Do I know my industry? It's, do you know how they think about the problem? So a couple ideas. And again, this is just kind of spitballing right now. We can dig more into it later. When I get a brochure or an electronic PDF, and I'm a lawyer, I'm a legal administrator, I'm whomever, I'm on the receiving end of this, and I see KLA marketing, and we do social media, we do this, we do that, we get you more leads, we get you whatever. I look at that and I go, oh, another one of these. Very easy to delete. Very easy to delete. One of the things that I mentioned in Module 3 is that one of the least effective packaging and branding strategies is initials and associates, or initials and consulting. Now, you don't have any of those, but you've got 3 initials and the word marketing, which is the same kind of thing, right? Yep. If my company were DJN and associates, or ABC consulting, it's like, what does that mean? Now, what you just said, though, might be the door that opens the genius here. Your genius, not mine. They're busy, they're overwhelmed, they already have a lot on their plate, right? And there's internal marketing departments that are not doing their job. So forget about KLA marketing. How about we have 2 packages, or we repackage, we remessage what you do for them into a marketing department accelerator, because marketing departments right now see you as an outside threat.
Yes.
And so, well, I can't hire Kimberly. If I'm a chief marketing officer of a law firm, or I'm the partner in charge of marketing if the firm is smaller, hiring Kimberly means I'm a failure. Hiring Kimberly means I'm incompetent. Hiring Kimberly means I'm throwing in the towel, I'm abdicating, I got to bring in an expert. Here's what the marketing department accelerator does. Your guys are doing an awesome job in-house. They really are. No, they're not. But they're doing an awesome job in-house. They really suck, but I can help them. Okay, fine, that's good. So marketing department accelerator, supplement and complement what your team is doing in-house, takes all the monkey work off their plate and helps them be much more effective in generating new business, new clients, higher profit margin, more billable hours, takes the rainmaking DNA in your firm and multiplies it and amplifies it, right? So that's one. And maybe that's the big package. The big package is the marketing department accelerator. And then the overwhelm for like the little guys that are like, oh my God, I hate marketing. It's overwhelming. I don't know what to do, right? Maybe we have a marketing roadmap. Marketing roadmap package is you get up in the morning, it's a checklist, right? It's like a cookbook. There's recipes. You do this. Kimberly's going to help you feed the machine, build the machine. First, build the machine, and then feed the machine. So you're no longer stressed out, maxed out, and overwhelmed with 1,000 marketing jobs that you don't want to do anyway. You don't want to do anyway. So now we have an overwhelm program, and we have a your marketing department sucks program. And that's how their mind really works. So it's not KLA marketing, get more clients, lawyers. Hey, lawyers, get more clients. It's solving 2 specific problems, right? The marketing department is not cutting the mustard. Marketing department accelerator program. If you don't have a full-blown marketing department, then all of your partners, all of your associates, they hate marketing anyway. They just need a path and a plan. So marketing roadmap, legal marketing roadmap, right? Get more clients, more billable hours, no more monkey work, no more frustration, no more stressed out, maxed out, and burned out by all the marketing tasks that you hate anyway. So basically, you and I are in the same boat. I would say if we polled everyone in this group and said, hey guys, how much do you love marketing and selling? No hands. Like no one really loves marketing and selling as a speaker, as a consultant, as a seminar workshop leader, as an expert who speaks professionally. That's why you're here. Imagine if that were easy, effortless, and enjoyable. Imagine if we could dial in everything from initial contact to signed contract and made that way less of a chore, way less of a headache, and you didn't hate every single second of it. So take that kind of value prop, because if you know they're overwhelmed, you have an overwhelmed program. You know they have a marketing department that's struggling, you've got the marketing department accelerator program. That's what they want to buy at the end of the day. And you can take any of your products and services and programs, unpack what's the problem, what's the resistance to solving that problem, and then how do you show up and say, I know you're frustrated by this. I know you hate that. I know that seems impossible for you. Here's what I do for folks like you. And then you become the perfect fit. And then you become the category of one, like we talked about a few minutes ago.
Right. This is a lot to think about. Interestingly, my book is called The Rainmaker Roadmap.
Aha!
A step-by-step guide.
Ding. There you go. There's your answer.
Are you familiar with our secret sauce?
With your secret sauce?
Yes.
No, hit me.
Okay, so several years ago, it was actually through my promotional specialist. We literally have a bottle of Texas Pete hot sauce. So this was something that we generated through a promotional item. The label is KLA Marketing, and it is the proprietary sentence that I say, the secret to marketing success is the consistent, persistent, massive amounts of action over a prolonged period of time. Because my world is always, they want it in a box with a bow on top. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the cultivation, rapport building, all the things. That's all the stuff in the book. So I have literally bottles of secret sauce that we give out. I have articles and icons and I have little business cards that have USBs with checklists and tip sheets. So on these little cards, it says, do you have the secret sauce? And there's a little USB that has marketing checklists and things that we give out. And so when I go, I've been exhibitor, I've been speaker, I've been all these things that I do for business development cultivation, we've developed this whole program around the secret sauce.
Right.
And so one of the things that I was thinking when I went through module 3, I think it was, about the whole naming, was to start speaking more about secret sauce marketing, which would play into the products that we have around the secret sauce, because it adds a little mystique, and it could still be part of KLA Marketing, because I've been branding KLA Marketing for almost a decade, but yet I could come out with these secret sauce marketing programs that really, haven't done this for a long time.
Well, and again, this is the good news, bad news part of this conversation, is that if you've been doing it for years the way you've been doing it, and you're saying, man, I'm having a real hard time getting in, I'm having a real hard time getting callbacks, I'm having a real hard time punching through, I wouldn't do more of what doesn't work. I would deploy some of those same assets in the context and in the framework of, here's the you hate marketing overwhelm program, the roadmap program, and here is the marketing department accelerator that supplements and complements what you guys are already doing in-house. And then within the framework of that, you can throw in the secret sauce, the bottles, the books, all kinds of stuff. But the value proposition and the packaging of that value proposition needs to be what they want to buy and not what you and I want to sell.
I understand. I understand it. I understand.
It's a small shift. It's literally, what's the first thing they see? The first thing they see is the roadmap program and the marketing department accelerator. Once they buy it, throw the building at this thing. Go crazy. Do all your stuff that you love to do and make it fun and bring the hot sauce and whatever. But I think that's the problem in not getting those enough first appointments and enough interest for people to peek over the wall and say, okay, what does she really have going on over here? If no one's peeking over the wall, we're not going to get to do the fun stuff.
So how does that manifest itself when you're reaching out cold? to these LinkedIn connections?
Well, I wouldn't even necessarily reach out cold. So, I mean, everything in our program is made so that you're not reaching out cold, that you're not doing mass marketing, that you're building relationships, you're doing the interview strategy, you're doing the connection building, you're doing the asking for air conversations, you're building the referral posse with your referral blurb, all of those things. When you do reach out cold, then it's going to be a value first outreach with something that's immediately relevant. It's not, hi, I'm Kimberly with KLA Marketing, who wants some? It's, are you overwhelmed and frustrated with, marketing tasks to bring in new clients? I have a program called the Marketing Roadmap. By the way, here's a video, here's the asset, here's a checklist, here's a goodie. Feel free to circle back with me if you'd like to have a follow-up chat. Feel free to circle back with me if this is something that you're working on right now in your firm. Other folks, maybe they were with a larger firm, then you would send them the marketing department accelerator. And that could be a checklist. Is your marketing department regularly and consistently doing these 20 things? If your score is 0 to 5, you suck. If your score is 6 to 10, your marketing is on life support. If your score is 11 to 14, you're doing okay, but you could be better. If your score is 15 to 20, congratulations. Now it's time to level up and do even better. So no matter what their score is, their little self-scoring assessment, they still need to book a call with you.
Yes. All right. Very good. Thank you so much.
So just really repackaging. It's literally just a 10 or 15% shift. And I think that's going to open the floodgates and be much less about Kimberly-centric or KLA marketing-centric messaging, and make it about them, their overwhelm, their marketing department, how you can help and serve them.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. And Rocco's question is, do I have a recommendation for a graphic designer and budget for a one sheet? What's a reasonable budget for a website? Do we need to set it up before? So yes and no. I mean, again, we talked about this, I think, last week, that you can do kind of a quick and dirty website. Long-term, that's not a great solution. Long-term, you do want to have a good website that you're proud of. You can, my friend Cynthia Lay runs a company called speakerwebsites.com and kind of says what it is. It is what it says, speakerwebsites.com. I put that into our Facebook group. And I think she also does some graphic design for one sheet. So if you're looking for a design resource and you don't want to go to a site like Upwork, Cynthia can probably help you with that as well. And budget's going to be probably a couple $100 for the one sheet design, probably a couple $1,000 for a decent website. You don't need to spend $10,000 or $15,000 on a website. Those days are long gone. That's crazy. You can get, a very, very professional, very complete website that looks like a $10,000 website for $3,000 or $4,000 tops, and very, very much worthwhile. Doug, you had a question?
Thanks.
No, you have what I have, which is resting raised hand face. Kind of like, I'll be sitting on a call like this, just because I kind of hold my hand like this, and they go, David, and I say, what? Did you have a question? No. Well, then what's this? Oh, that's just my hand. Sorry. I put that down, and then we're fine again. But I will just have kind of like the resting little puppet hand sitting here. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you. Okay, great. Yes, that's what these calls are like, from the ridiculous to the sublime.
David, I'm sorry.
Leonard's having a fantastic time today. He's like, this is better than Netflix today. Go ahead. Who wanted to chime in? Rocco.
David, sorry, just a follow-up. Did you give a reco for a graphic designer? I think I might have missed it.
That was Cynthia.
Oh, Cynthia too?
Of Speaker Websites. She also does some graphic design work for your print materials.
Oh, okay, great, thanks.
Right now it's really PDF materials, but it looks like print materials.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else? I think that is.
I will ask a question.
The end of our prefab questions, correct? I think it is. And Doug, go ahead.
So I just actually, interestingly enough, just got a lead that came in while on this call from what seems to be a pretty major corporation, legitimate lead, decision maker, senior VP of sales, been there 10 years. So my first response typically is to send an email from a CRM where I can track it, request a phone call. and then go into what in the vernacular of this call would go into a discovery session. This is helping with that. This seems to be a very legitimate high-level opportunity that I'd like to take action on immediately, even before asking a question for the Thursday call. So any input you could give me to make this a more valuable experience between now and Thursday, and I'll probably have a question for Thursday.
Sure. So you're exactly right. If, any kind of inquiry needs to be driving to a phone call. The phone call is 100% about them. Right? You're having a sales meeting. Why are you having the sales meeting? What's the theme of the sales meeting? Why is the theme of the sales meeting the theme of the sales meeting? What are you seeing in your sales team that's working well? What are you seeing in your sales team that's not working so well? What would be the best possible outcome of bringing in an expert like me to help you with your team? What else do they
one more point.
that's showing
one
up?
More
so
point.
That's what you do during the call.
Okay. So just one more quick point. I'm actually used to working with sales teams. This is a team of HR executives, which I'm less familiar with.
Didn't you say the guy was a VP of sales?
He's VP of sales for a company. They sell to HR. It's a learning organization that sells to HR people, so the HR people will be in the room. It's my understanding.
So go ahead and read me the.
Okay, great.
And Doug, for some reason, your audio is really choppy. Is that just me, or are you guys picking up some choppy audio there from Doug? It is choppy.
It may be on my end. And if we need to table this, it's completely fine. We're looking for a speaker for our September user conference here in Minneapolis. And thought of you. I think it might be a really good fit. It is mostly HR executives from companies all over the country.
Okay. So it's a users group conference, so he's hiring you to talk to their clients, basically.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So same questions, except not with a sales context, right? Tell me about the user group meeting. Tell me about these HR guys. Tell me about what you want them leaving with. What should they be thinking and feeling and doing differently? Do you want them to buy more of your products and services? Do you want them to be more loyal? Do you want them to be brand champions? Do you want them to, upsell, cross-sell? Will you have your sales team in the room with them? What's the ultimate outcome of this users group meeting? Is it to buy more stuff? Is it to stay loyal? Is it to, recommend? Is it to bring their friends? Should they be bringing, a fellow HR professional that they think could gain value from the meeting about learning about your technology solution, et cetera, and just really, really dig deep into the financial, non-financial, professional outcomes of what this meeting is going to do for them. And then I would say, well, how often do you have these meetings? And are they all around the country? Are they just in wherever it is? How are you being measured? Like we're talking to the VP of sales. How are you being measured as far as the success of these events? What's a typical return on investment of these events? Do you get more sales? Do you extend their contracts? Do you generate more referrals? How do you measure the success of these events now, right? And then, of course, the underlying theme of all of this is how can I help you do better with 1, 2, 3, 4, outcome. What else do you have in mind? How else have you done this in the past? What hasn't worked? How can these programs be better and get you more and bigger outcomes more reliably? Because when you hire me for something like this, I'm not just concerned about doing a home run speech. That's kind of a given. What I'm concerned about is you getting the outcome that you want from this users group meeting. And at that point, fee just goes out the window and it's like, oh my God, get this guy in here. I don't care what it costs.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then Morgan says, one more part of Rocco's question, you need to set up the website. Well, you need to set up some kind of website, either the kind of placeholder temporary website. What some people do is they just have a domain and they redirect the domain to their LinkedIn account. And that's kind of a temporary, little bit of a stopgap. You can say, listen, my website's under construction. My website's not quite ready for prime time. Here's my LinkedIn. You can do it that way. You can also use like a temporary website builder like Unbounce or Lead Pages just to put a kind of quick and dirty, but nice, good looking, sleek website together. The other do-it-yourself website builder that I like a lot is called Strikingly. strikingly.com, and I will put that in the chat for you, because that you can do all kinds of fun things, and it's very affordable. And that website looks really super slick. It's not going to be your full website. You can't really use that for a full-blown, full-featured website, but for a quick and dirty landing page that looks really professional, mobile-friendly, mobile responsive, that's a good solution for a placeholder as well. So either do something like that or do something like redirect a URL to your LinkedIn account.
I have a ClickFunnels account that I use.
Yeah, that would work. That would totally work.
Website.
That would totally work. Just make sure that's designed, you know, because it's funny with like ClickFunnels and lead pages, the templates they give you are great.
Yeah.
You can modify the templates a little bit. You start getting too modified and it starts to look funky and not good. So go with a standard template, fill in the standard template, hit save. It's going to look awesome.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. And Nicole, it's called ClickFunnels, like clicking a mouse, clickfunnels.com. It's one of Russell Brunson's many multi-million-dollar businesses that he lords over. Internet marketing dude that does all kinds of crazy stuff. Crazy. All right. What else? Anything else for anyone else before we reconvene on Thursday? What a great call today. Oh my God. You guys brought the juice. You brought the success stories. You brought the awesome questions. You're taking away the awesome strategies. What else can I help with? Leonard had more fun than watching the Oscars. My work here is done. All right, team. You guys are awesome. I'll be in the Facebook group. Make sure to post your distinctions and your ahas and your takeaways. There are many from this call because you guys all asked fantastic questions. And Morgan will post that in the group. This recording will be waiting for you in the group. And I will see you on Thursday. All right. Thank you, team. See you soon.